last week after watching the film, it was a tale of turnovers. That was all it was. We pretty much were, as bad as we played at times last week. When you look from a statistical standpoint, we were kind of wiped out in all areas. Special teams, it was kind of a wash. Offensively, it was kind of eerily similar, to be honest with you. And obviously defense on the flip side of that, it was pretty similar as well. Big plays were kind of similar. I think we had 2 or 3 what I would consider big plays. I think they had 2 or 3 what I would consider big plays. And but the one stat that jumps out at you the most is that we had 4 turnovers as compared to their 1. And I think that at the end of the day, that's what got us was the turnovers. And obviously our quarterback, KD, threw 3 interceptions and then fumbled it 1 time. So that's obviously something that we'll address going into this week. With that being said, we've got to do a much better job. The 2 things that I talked to the staff about was we've got to figure out ways to protect our quarterback and put pressure on theirs. And I didn't think we did a very good job putting pressure on their quarterback or containing their quarterback. And at the same time, I thought KD took an awful lot of hits that he didn't need to be taking and that he cannot continue to take if we want him to be successful moving forward. With all that being said, yesterday was a great day because it's a day that we get to put all of that behind us and move forward. Once we got done with our 4 o'clock team meeting, that game was put to bed, and now we have a very similar opponent from the same conference who's been playing really good ball. They just played a SEMO team. We've got 2 games at Florida Atlantic and SEMO that they played very, very well in. So it ought to be a lot of fun. And then obviously this has not been a series that Murray State has had for a long time. Apparently this used to be a pretty heated rivalry years ago, which obviously I don't know anything about, but I'm starting to get that sense from a lot of the fans, and a lot of people are very excited, as are we, to go back up there and get this thing rolling again.
You talk about the turnovers. KD for the first 2 games, the 5 interceptions thrown. Is he forcing things a little too much this year, or is it just things that other defenses are doing differently against him? What's kind of going on?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that he's trying to force some things, and trying to make some plays happen. But I think he's doing that a lot of times because I think he's just very restless back there right now. If you go back and you watch the tape, if we were to play on grass, we would already have to exchange his jersey. He would need a new jersey already if we were to play on natural grass and not field turf, because he's constantly getting peppered back there. And there was about 4 shots. There were about 4 shots that he took the other night. Matter of fact, I sent him in to the referees, to the head of the officials, just kind of trying to get his take on if he thought they were high, targeting type shots and stuff like that, because he took a beating. And I think he's no different than anybody else. Anytime you get back there and you start taking that beating, you're going to be a little bit fast to get the ball out. You may not go through all your progressions, and you're just trying to get the ball out of your hands. And on the flip side of that, I told you guys this was going to happen. I mean, we're brand new out wide. If you look at it, him and Jesse Blackburn, they haven't missed a beat. Every time you see him and Jesse Blackburn, it doesn't matter where Jesse stops, if he continues to go to the next window, if he stops in the first window, they're always on the same page. The other guys, we're on the same page, 2 different paragraphs, and we just don't have that cohesiveness. And it's going to take some time. It's not something that I can go out there on a Tuesday practice and say, hey, we're going to get 60 reps of Skelly so that we can get our timing down, because obviously we don't have, nobody has enough bodies to do that. And it's just going to take some time. And obviously in this profession, we're not very patient people, so we want that to happen right now. But it's just going to take a little while, and I knew that going into it with all these new guys running routes.
Eventually, I know Coach Boone, when I talked to him last week, talked about the 23 missed tackles. Did you see improvement in that?
Yeah, I did. I saw a lot of improvement. The biggest thing that I saw, the biggest takeaway from that game that I thought was the biggest bright spot, I guess I should say, was I thought that we won the physicality battle hands down. I thought that when we put hits on them, I thought that we won the physicality. You could hear our hits. And that's not something that we've had in a long time around here. So I did think that we did that. I thought that we wrapped up, on our tackles a lot better. I didn't see as many big plays on missed tackles. It was more missed assignments. We had the one post over the top on 3rd and 14, which can't happen. We had one where the quarterback got out in a scramble. The corner thought he had passed the line of scrimmage, so he goes to engage on the tackle. We get hit over the head. Those type things, those are things that you can watch film and you can correct and say, hey, man, are we good? And the kid looks at you and says, Coach, man, we're good. I just thought he had passed the line of scrimmage. So I thought that we got a lot better in that area. And I knew going into the game, me and Boone had talked about, it being he was going to stay very base. He was not going to pressure as much. For that reason, he wanted to put the kids in better situations to be able to tackle and wrap up and see the ball. But with that being said, he also told me, that we're going to be out on the field a long time. There's going to be some drives that go 10 or 11 plays, which really isn't my forte. I really don't like that, but we just felt like with our personnel and the young kids that we have right now that we needed to do that and play a little bit more base, and I thought they did a tremendous job.
Looks like Mark Dodson's elevated your top running back position here. He should be good to go for Saturday.
I'm hoping so. We've got a couple of guys, him and Bishop Woods, that are kind of day-to-day. That today and tomorrow will be a telltale sign. We're still trying to work some kinks out with, how we're going to tape an ankle or tape a foot or what brace we're going to wear and things like that, just to try to get them comfortable. I think both of them are outside running right now with the trainers to try to see just how comfortable they are, if they can cut, if they can move. Because obviously it doesn't matter. They can go straight. Anybody can go straight. Right now we got to figure out if they can go laterally, and they'll do that this afternoon. We'll get a call on that this evening, and then tomorrow for practice we'll see how it goes.
But even in Dodson's absence, Johnson's done a pretty good job.
Yeah.
45 all-purpose yards on Saturday.
Yeah, the thing about DJ was the thing that I was most proud of, but also the most concerned with. We did not do a very good job controlling his reps. If you look at him, we played, on tape it says like 90 snaps, but that's all the penalties and stuff like that. I think we played a legitimate 82 snaps, 83 snaps on offense. He played 79 of those, and we can't have him do that, especially when we're using him as much as we are out of the backfield, and he's getting some longer yardage and some explosive plays out of the backfield catching the ball, and then you add to him his special teams reps. We're going to have to do a better job of controlling his reps moving forward, or else we'll get to week 4 and he'll be toast.
What was Dodson's injury?
It's just a mild sprain in the foot, and it's low. It's not an ankle. It's in his foot by his big toe, kind of around that little joint right there. So it's more discomfort than anything, getting him to a level where he feels good, and it doesn't send a searing pain down his foot every time he tries to cut on it. So it's just a comfort level thing right now for him, trying to figure out what's going to make him the most comfortable.
Coach, I know turnovers and a few other miscues were tough on Saturday, but Connor Mitchell was sharp the whole game. Maybe talk about what he's kind of been going through. And you guys even brought a kicker in through the summer, and James Abington that can push.
Yeah, I thought he did a tremendous job. We were 3 for 3. We had 5 chances in the red zone. We were 4 or 5 on those, and one of them was a touchdown, and 3 of them were a field goal. That last one, you want to talk about a pressure cook field goal now. That last drive on offense, obviously we knew in that situation we wanted to go down and kick a field goal as fast as possible. That's the reason why we did what we did. We wanted to go down and make it a one-possession game, because you're going to have to try for the onside kick either way. So we said, hey, go down there as fast as we can. When we get into field goal range, let's let him boot it through. We'll try for the onside kick and then see if we can't make something happen offensively. And, man, he did that without a flinch, went down there and knocked it true as it could be. Very proud of him. He's a guy, before the week of the first game, we awarded him a scholarship because he's earned it. And he's been doing a tremendous job for us. And, the best play that he had, though nobody probably knows, the best play he had was he saved a kickoff for a touchdown. The very first time we kicked it off, they did something a little bit different in their return. and he was the one that had to fill the hole. He went down there and made a spectacular tackle, so he'll sign a rock out there for special teams. Him and Malik Golson, as far as we have a little deal, special teams, your rock hit. So if you made the big tackle or the big hit, obviously Golson hitting the punter on the fake right there, which we got lucky, and then Connor Mitchell saving that tackle for a touchdown on kickoff. So both of those guys get to sign the rock, but very, very excited about Connor Mitchell.
What can you tell us just about your linebacker play? I mean, total tackles there. Most of your linebackers leading the team. Do you feel like that might be your deepest position on defense?
Yeah, you'll see some horseshoes on their helmet. They're our position of the week. Offensively, the running backs, which, like I said, that was DJ, but we do it by position. So the running backs got our offensive position of the week, and then defensively, our linebackers got our position of the week. Thought they were tremendous. Really, really liking what I'm seeing out of Quincy Williams and Lamont Crittenden. Those guys, man, they're running around, they're flying around. And then the other one is, Jonathan Jackson. Jonathan Jackson also played about 80 snaps the other day because he's having to play. He's two-timing it. He's having to play a little bit of linebacker, and then they'll bump him down and let him rush off the end a little bit. And he's creating some mismatches out there with offensive tackles as an end rusher. Very excited about the way he's playing out there. So. But, yeah, I think right now that's kind of our strong suit on defense is that linebacker crew and just figuring out ways to get them to the ball.
No, that's how you coach. It's early in the week. You haven't seen a lot of them. Does this coach have a tendency to do anything different than what?
I don't know. I made a joke with this. Not really a joke. I made a comment with the staff the other day. We played 3 games, and two of the 3 games I have no idea what I'm about to face, just because I don't have a whole lot of film on this guy. From an offensive standpoint, the defensive coordinator's new, so we're having to piece, mix and match and piece some things together on where he's been previously, and trying to talk to some people who knows what he does and all of that. But we don't have a lot to show our kids, and which some way it makes it fun because you go out there and you have your game plan, and then as a coach, you actually get to work on Saturdays. You have to work on some adjustments and doing some in-game things, but it kind of makes your kids uneasy a little bit because as you're coaching them through the week, you're going, I think they'll do this. They should do this. If they don't, then we'll do this, but we're never going to change offensively, defensively, or special teams wise. Our deal with our kids is we're going to do what we do. We're never going to say, hey, what do they do? Let's figure out a way to attack it. Let's figure out what we can do to defend them. We're always going to say, hey, this is what we do. I wonder how they're going to stop it. And that's how we'll approach this game. But from everything I've heard, the biggest thing they got going for them is, like I said, they've got a new coach. I think he played there at SIU, so he's got a lot of momentum going into this season. He's played 2 awfully good games. In Florida Atlantic took them down to the wire, and then SEMO obviously beat them. It'll be a fun game. It'll be a good matchup.
You injuries you're having to deal with any this week?
KD right now. He's got nothing serious right now, but he's pretty beat up. So just trying to manage him through the week. And then like I said, Dotson and Bishop Woods trying to get them back on pace and see where we're at with them. But other than that, I think that I talked to Steck after the game. I think Missouri State went home a lot more beat up than we did, which is a good thing. So other than our pride.
SIU, I know you said you don't know much about them yet because you're still starting watching them now, but their quarterback's top 5 in the nation as far as passing yards per game. You faced 2 teams already that like to sling it across the field. How much pressure is that going to put on your secondary again this week, having to stop that?
Well, like I said, I think it puts more pressure on my defensive front. I don't think it's the secondary's job to stop a passer. I think it's those 4 guys that have their hand in the dirt. It's their job to stop the passer. We could go down and play Florida State in 7-on-7, and we'd at least score some points. It's just the way that it is when you're dealing with the back end and everybody's receivers because, especially now, there's a lot of parallels between skill players at any level. It doesn't matter who you're facing. The good teams are the ones who can put pressure on the quarterback and who can protect theirs. And I think, obviously our secondary, they have to be ready for some things because that guy is a gunslinger and he throws it around a pretty good bit. But I'm more worried about challenging my defensive front to go get that guy and make him uncomfortable. And on the flip side of that, Sunday, it was kind of a gut check for my offensive line. We met as a team, and I went through every play, all 83 snaps of it, as an offensive unit, and I pointed out some things, and there was a lot of hurt feelings in there, and that's okay. But we've got to do a better job of protecting that guy back there that we've got to, and putting him in successful situations.